Alright, today we're going to be looking at fractional parts of a set. We've already talked about looking at a fraction as a part of a whole. We've also looked at fractions as a part of a set. And now we're going to be looking at what's called a fractional part of a set. And so here's our essential question up here in orange. It says, how can you find a fractional part of a set? Key in on this right here, fractional part of a set. So we go back to sets. Let's go back to our set here. Yesterday we learned about looking at a set of objects. So here's our set of objects. We have 8 objects here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's our total number of objects. And we have 3 of them shaded. So we have 3 total out of 8. So here's we have an object, a set of objects, and we have a number of them shaded. So this is how we would say it would be 3/8. We also looked at looking at a fraction as a part of a whole, and so we had a whole square unit or a whole rectangle divided into 1, 2, 3 equal parts. So that's where our 3 comes from on the bottom of this fraction. And then we have our 1 at the top. That's how many of those 3 are shaded. So we would say that fraction is 1/3. And so today we need to review, of course, what is a numerator, what's the purpose of a numerator, what does it do, or what does it tell us, and then what does a denominator tell us. And so the bottom part, of course, is where you want to start. The denominator tells us the total number of parts. Just like we have 3 total parts here, we have 8 total parts up here. And then our numerator tells us how many of the parts we're counting, or in this case we have shaded in. 1, 2, 3 over here, we shaded in 1 over here. And so all you're doing really when you're doing fractions is you're counting parts, whether it's total number of parts or how many are shaded. Now today we're going to be looking at fractional part of a set. This is going to be getting a little tricky. You may need to rewind and watch this over and over again. And so let's look at our word problem to get us started. So I'll move out of the way so you can read it. Word problem's over here in green. It says Darren used 1/4, that's how you would say that fraction, 1/4, there's a 1 at the top, 4 down at the bottom, 1/4 of a carton of eggs to make breakfast. How many eggs did he use? Now, first of all, you need to have a little background information on how many eggs are in a carton. I already drew your picture for you. So how many eggs are in one carton? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You have 12 eggs in one carton. So our whole unit is 12 eggs. So we have, actually we have, what do we have here is a set of objects. We have a set of eggs. So we have 12 total eggs. And so we're going to be looking at 1/4. So we got to look and see, of course, what is our fraction? How does this fraction 1/4? I'll see if I can darken it for you. I know there's a glare. 1/4. How we can find 1/4 in here. So let's go back to what we know about a fraction. A fraction is going to tell us, we're going to be looking at, of course, we have our 2 numbers. We have our numerator, we have our denominator. Our denominator is going to tell us how many parts. So we look down here, and we're looking and we're saying, I don't see 4 parts. I see 12 parts, but I don't see 4 parts. So we got to think about this. Let's think about this in multiplication and division. Is there a way that we can take these 12 eggs and divide it into 4 equal parts? Can we do that? Does this number 12 and 4 ring a bell? 12, 4, or maybe you're thinking what number times 4 equals 12? Have you figured that out yet? Hopefully you figured out that 12 divided by 4 is 3. And so what we're looking at when we're looking at a fractional part of a set, we're looking at how many eggs is going to equal to 1/4. And so we're looking at, we have a total of 12 eggs. We have 1 part out of 4. 1/4 is going to equal to 3 eggs. Do you see how this? Let me show you. Let me see if I can color it in, see if you can see it. Okay. Let's say I were to shade in 3 eggs. Okay. One color. Let's say I shade in this color. There's 3 eggs. Let's do some purple. 1, 2, 3. And let's do some green. 1, 2, 3. Maybe hard to see on the video, but what you see is we have 1, 2, 3, 4 different colors. Where do we get our 4 from? We have our 4 up here. We have 4 different colors. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 sets. Okay? So we have a total of 12 eggs. We have 4 sets. So we're looking at how many make up 1 out of those 4 sets. 1/4 of a carton of eggs. So this right here, this would be one of those fourth. There's another one, there's another one, and there's another one. So there's 4 parts, and so we want to see how many would make up 1. So we have 3 eggs would make up 1 part of that set of 12 eggs. And so when we're looking at this, of course you got to make sure you understand and know what a denominator or a numerator and denominator show you. And so when we're looking at this, of course, you have to know a little background knowledge, and a lot of questions when you see, you're going to have to know a little bit of information about, like sometimes they'll ask you days of the week, how many days are in a week, how many months are in a year, and so they'll ask you a fraction months of the year. So there's some things it's going to expect you to know, like this case, it expected you to know that there's 12 eggs in a dozen. And so here we just looked at how we can find a fractional part of a set.